What happens when a single moment of rage blinds you to the truth, and the consequences unravel everything you thought you knew? In the bustling heart of downtown Asheville, where the streets pulsed with the rhythm of hurried footsteps and honking cars, Karen Delaney stood at the crosswalk, her arms crossed tightly, her lips pursed in a familiar scowl. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows, and the air was thick with the scent of exhaust and street vendor hot dogs. Karen, a 42-year-old office manager with a penchant for order, was not one to tolerate disruptions. Her meticulously planned day lunch at 12:30, errands by 2 o'clock, and a 3 o'clock meeting had already been derailed by a traffic jam. Now, a pedestrian, a young man in a faded hoodie, was standing in the middle of the crosswalk, blocking her path to her parked SUV. "Excuse me," Karen snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut through the city noise. The young man, engrossed in his phone, didn't budge. Her heels clicked impatiently against the pavement as she waved her hand, her manicured nails flashing in the sunlight. "Some of us have places to be." The young man, startled, glanced up. His name was Ethan, a 22-year-old barista who had just finished a grueling shift at a nearby cafe. His eyes were tired, his shoulders slumped, but he stepped aside, mumbling an apology. Karen, however, wasn't appeased. Her face flushed with indignation. She pulled out her phone and dialed the non-emergency police line. "There's a pedestrian obstructing the crosswalk on Maple Street," she said, her tone clipped. "He's causing a public disturbance." Ethan overheard her, his jaw tightening. "Lady, I moved. What's your problem?" "My problem," Karen retorted, "is people like you who think they own the street." The call ended with a dispatcher promising to send an officer. Karen stood triumphant, her chin raised, as Ethan shook his head and walked away, his sneakers scuffing against the pavement. To Karen, this was just a small victory in her ongoing battle against the chaos of the world. But the world, as it often does, had a way of turning the tables. Unbeknownst to Karen, a small crowd had gathered nearby, drawn by the commotion. Among them was Lila, a 60-year-old street photographer with a weathered camera slung around her neck. Lila had seen countless dramas unfold in Asheville streets, and something about Karen's outrage piqued her curiosity. She adjusted her lens, capturing the scene. Karen's pointed finger, Ethan's retreating figure, and the crosswalk itself, marked by faded white stripes. Lila's photos, though, weren't just for art. She had a habit of sharing her work with local businesses, including the corner store whose CCTV camera had recorded the entire incident. As Karen drove off, satisfied with her complaint, Officer Ramirez arrived at the scene. A seasoned cop with a calm demeanor, he took statements from bystanders, including Lila, who mentioned the CCTV footage. Curious, Ramirez visited the corner store and reviewed the tape. What he saw made his brow furrow. The footage clearly showed Ethan standing briefly in the crosswalk, checking his phone, but it was Karen's SUV that had veered slightly onto the crosswalk lines, blocking part of the path. Ethan had only paused because he was startled by her aggressive honking. Ramirez sighed, jotting notes. This wasn't the first time Karen had called the police over a minor issue. Last month, she'd reported a neighbor for excessive lawn mowing noise. The month before, it was a delivery driver who looked suspicious. Her file was growing, and Ramirez sensed a pattern. But this time, the evidence was undeniable. He decided to pay Karen a visit. At her pristine suburban home, Karen was sipping chamomile tea when Ramirez knocked. She opened the door, her smile fading as he explained the situation. "Ms. Delaney, the CCTV footage shows your vehicle was obstructing the crosswalk. The pedestrian you reported wasn't the issue you were." Karen's face paled, then reddened. "That's absurd. I was in my lane. That boy was loitering, probably up to no good." Ramirez remained calm. "The footage doesn't lie, ma'am. You're lucky no citation is being issued, but I suggest you review your driving habits." As Ramirez left, Karen's mind raced. She wasn't wrong, she couldn't be. She'd spent years building a life of control, of rules, of being the one who set things right. The idea that she was at fault was unthinkable. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and it gnawed at her. That evening, Karen scrolled through social media, where a local news page had posted about the incident. Someone likely Lila had shared the CCTV footage, blurred for anonymity but unmistakably showing Karen's SUV in the wrong. The comments were brutal. Typical Karen behavior. She needs to chill. Entitled much? Humiliation burned in Karen's chest. She slammed her laptop shut, her hands trembling. But the twist came the next day. Lila, the photographer, reached out to Karen via a handwritten letter slipped under her door. It read, "I saw what happened. I've been where you are, angry at the world, thinking I was right. But life's too short for battles like these. If you want to talk, I'm at the cafe on Maple every morning." Attached was a photo from that day, not of the crosswalk, but of Karen's face, her eyes fierce, her posture rigid, a portrait of rage she barely recognized. Lila's letter hit Karen like a punch. She remembered her younger self, a single mother who fought for every scrap of respect, who learned to wield anger as a shield. Somewhere along the way, that shield had become a weapon. She didn't go to the cafe, but Lila's words lingered, a quiet challenge to change. Days turned into weeks, and Karen couldn't shake the incident. She saw Ethan again at the cafe, serving coffee with a tired smile. She learned, through overheard conversations, that he was saving for college, working double shifts to support his younger sister. Guilt crept in, uninvited. She wanted to apologize, but pride held her back. Then came the final blow. Karen's boss, having seen the viral footage, called her into his office. "Karen, your behavior reflects on our company. We've had complaints before, but it's public. We're letting you go." Karen sat in stunned silence. Her job, her identity, her sense of control gone. She drove home, the city blurring through her tears. At a red light, she glanced at the crosswalk, empty now, and saw her own reflection in the window. The woman staring back looked lost, not righteous. That night, Karen sat alone, the house too quiet. She pulled out Lila's letter and the photo, studying her own face. For the first time, she saw the cost of her anger, not just to others, but to herself. She thought of Ethan, of Lila, of the countless people she judged without knowing. The weight of it all pressed down, bitter and heavy. She didn't call the police again. She didn't confront anyone. Instead, she started small, volunteering at a community center, listening more, speaking less. It wasn't redemption, not yet, but it was a step. The world didn't change, but Karen began to. The crosswalk on Maple Street remained, its faded stripes a silent witness to a moment that had unraveled a life. And Karen, once so certain, learned the hardest truth. Sometimes the one blocking the way is you. ND.